Hey and welcome back to Nismo Behind the Hits, and today we talk about Iconic, and we talk a little bit more about the vocal. So it basically started when I got a project from Gustav, and it was really nice. He's also the co-producer on the song, and we decided to switch out the vocal. So I rang up SEPHINE which is who is a songwriter in Sweden. She has an amazing voice and the ability to change her voice in so many ways, and she just came up with this iconic idea. Then we needed some more phrases because it was otherwise too repetitive. So when Mel, the co-writer on the song, and I were in Sweden, we had the last studio session of the week, and then we recorded Iconic and wrote some more parts for it, and she just nailed it. So without her, the song wouldn't be there. Yeah, it's always great to make music with good friends. Yeah, you see here the vocal. We recorded it with like a clone of a Sony C800, just a pretty nice microphone because it has a lot of high end, so I really love that. And you see here a lot of muted tracks. These are all these little noises which are in the vocal. You can see them here. They're kind of like all over the place. I just wanted to get rid of them because they're not needed for my...
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go.
Yeah, that's the vocal. Pretty basic, but sounds from it sounded great. So the only part for me was just to exaggerate the greatness out of her voice, and that's why the vocal chain is actually pretty basic, because she did like an amazing job. So we start with an RVox. It's just a simple gate on there. I use no compression with RVox. We have a low cut, and the low cut is directly in front of the Antares autotune. Because if you have low frequencies in your autotune, it can't really just like pitch it correctly because the low end information is very hard to process. Then we again go into an equalizer. This equalizer is basically for me just the chance to get rid of any frequencies I don't like, and I cannot like see and hear in my studio which sounds I really don't want to have in my production. So we dip out some low mids here, some 855. I'm going with a spectral EQ on both of these frequencies, 3110K, and at 2400 I just dip it quite drastically because that never sounds good. And then we have here on 70K and like a high cut. It's like a very tiny resonance, and luckily I got these ATC speakers here in my studio, because then I really can hear certain details. Then we have a de-esser by Solid State Logic. It sounds just amazing and makes my vocals so smooth, and I really love that thing. It's on 106% amount. We got a tiny bit of threshold going on, sounding nice. And then we have the two compressors, which are actually the UA D1176, and then we have the metric halo channel strip, which is giving me again a gate, compressor, and the equalizer.
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go.
So the vocal just transforms and comes through the listener, which is really important, because in a song like that, you fight for room, because your bass line has to be the loudest, kick drums, and the lead sound also comes in. So your vocal has to be nailed and has to be there in the production and very present. So I think these both are doing that. Then we have a vocal rider again to get rid of some transients I maybe lost. And here is again an equalizer, which is like dipping out all the frequencies I don't need. There we go into the most fun part. It's basically my stereo chain for vocals. It's a Studio D chorus, which goes into a doubler 2, and the chorus just gives me an extra bit of width in my production. And with these two, the whole vocal just opens up and it's very broad.
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go.
So you will hear it changes a little bit Josephine's voice, and it sounds little bit pitched, which I really liked, and it made the vocals sound even more sassy and even more cool. So yeah, that's on there. Then we have an endless smile for certain automations again, and then we have like all the chains for reverbs, etc. And I can go into details with these ones. You'll see here are all the automations I do on my vocal, which are pretty basically all the chains or all the send buses. And in the breakdown, I can have a lot of reverb and a lot of delay on my vocal. Then when I want to go into the drop, if you have a lot of reverb and delay, it just fights for room with my bass line, kick, drums, lead sound, etc. So I made the choice to have a very dry vocal in my drop, so the whole drop just focuses on the vocal and the bass line. And all the delays are not necessary then there, and so I tamed them by just muting the whole channel. It makes a huge difference. So if you listen to that part.
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go.
You hear a lot of like little delays here. And here in the drop part, it's actually the other way around. It's very dry.
Iconic, like Vogue, I got it, I know, you want it, let's go.
There's like a small delay because then the whole bass line, etc. opens up and not so many drums are playing. But for the rest, there's just like this little slap delay on it, which is like very short and stops quite drastically. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the vibe, the almost like A and B part of my vocal. And yeah, that's the vocal. I played a little bit more with that vocal lead because I needed an atmosphere. And if you have a very good vocal, so not like a splice vocal or something like that, you can make your own atmosphere. And this is what I did here. So yeah, I chopped up a certain part of the vocal, and yeah, basically I have too much time on my hands, so I can do that. And a little bit nuts. And then we have here also the Pro Q. I dip out some low mids, and I dip out some 2400 Hertz, which is not that nice to listen to. So the meta pitch will give me the benefit that I can pitch it up or down, and I can use some format shifting in there. So that's pretty nice. And we have then Seal A vocals. Then we go into Rift, and Rift by Minimal Audio does a great job. It just like enhances saturation and distortion. I'm closing it off with an Pro Q, again to get rid of some high end because it got kinda too bright for an atmosphere. And after that I have like an Endless Smile in here and an Simplon, and they are both for the automation. And this atmosphere is the whole time in the back, also in the extended mix, in the drop, etc. Because it gives me a little bit more movement in my music, and it helps the vocal to really get a new character, and also the song. Yes, basically that's the whole vocal processing of Iconic together with SEPHINE. And make sure to listen to it, and see you for the next video.